A Bookworm's Journey in the Cardinal World. Tensura X Ascendance of a Bookworm by Galaxycharmer123. 6 Counterattack Tuli's paw standing before the ruler of all monsters, Rimuru Tempest, the leader of the Jurid Tempest Federation. I couldn't help but be struck by his ethereal beauty. If I hadn't known better, I might have mistaken him for a woman. His presence was commanding yet gentle, a paradox that left me both in awe and slightly intimidated. As the head priest entered with his scholar and knight, I felt the weight of the moment settle over me. "You are Tuli, correct? Mine sister?" Rimuru addressed me with a gentle smile that belied the power I sensed emanating from him. Yes, I am," I stammered, trying to steady my voice. "Can you lead me to your sister's body? I need to see her." Yes, please follow me," I replied, my voice trembling. Here was a being who literally held the fate of my sister's soul in his hands. His aura, though restrained, was a palpable reminder of his strength. I quickly led him to where my mother was waiting. She rose immediately upon seeing Rimuru. "You are Lord Rimuru, correct? Will you really be able to revive mine? I am willing to do anything to bring my daughter back. Please revive her," my mother pleaded, falling to her knees before him. Rimuru gently lifted her by the shoulders, his tone soothing. "Be at ease. Your daughter protected my citizens from certain death, and for that, I am eternally grateful. I also have a promise to keep. Rest assured, I will do everything in my power to revive her. This is my way of repaying her sacrifice and atoning for my own foolishness in trusting humans." With that, he bowed deeply, a gesture of humility that seemed incongruous with his status. "I cannot bow to anyone as a leader of a nation, but since this is private, it does not matter. Please forgive me for my failure to protect your daughter when she should have been under my care. Rest assured, I will exhaust all methods to bring her back. I already have her soul with me, so be at ease." Thank you so much. I can't express how grateful I am. My daughters mean everything to me. I can't go on living without them," my mother sobbed, and I hugged her tightly, trying to offer comfort. Rimuru smiled gently before moving to pick up mine's body. Her form was terribly disfigured, her bones shattered, and her skin as pale as a ghost from the blood loss. The last spell she cast had cost her dearly. With my current abilities, I have only a 3.14% chance to revive her, but rest assured, I will bring your daughter back by tomorrow evening. With that, he turned to leave. "Please wait," I called out, my voice firm despite the turmoil inside me. My mother urged me to return, but I couldn't heed her call. I ran after Rimuru, my eyes catching sight of a discarded wooden practice sword. It seemed abandoned, and I claimed it as my own. Watching mine's sacrifice and Rimuru's willingness to apologize for his mistakes ignited something within me. I no longer wanted to be the one protected. I vowed to repay mine for her sacrifice and Rimuru for his efforts to revive her. I would become strong enough to protect mine. What kind of elder sister would I be if I couldn't protect my younger sister? Rimuru, noticing my approach, stopped and turned to face me. "Can you please train me? I want to become strong enough to protect my sister the next time something like this happens." He seemed surprised but regarded me with a knowing, evaluative look. It felt as though he could see right through me, assessing my worth. "Are you willing to become your sister's knight? Do you have the resolve to do everything to protect her, no matter the danger? Know that this is a thorny path. You may have to kill your own friends. Also, mine may not have a lifespan after I revive her. So I ask again, are you willing to follow your lady and protect her from all dangers?" His voice was stern, demanding sincerity. "I am. What kind of sister would I be if I were the one being protected despite being the elder? I don't care if she becomes immortal. I will still protect her. I will become a sage to stand by her side until the end of time. This is my resolve." Confirmed. Individual Tuli has fulfilled the condition to acquire the unique skill, Indomitable Will. A voice echoed in my mind, and I felt a surge of power. Rimuru seemed surprised by the change but smiled, impressed by my determination. "Hakuro, can you take her in as your student and train her in the ways of the sword?" "I am ready and willing, my lord," an elderly man who appeared out of nowhere replied. "Then take her in as your disciple and train her in the ways of the sword." "As you wish, my lord," he replied, turning to me with a soft expression. "Can you please tell me your name, child?" "My name is Tuli," I replied. I owe a debt to your sister, so this is also my way of repaying her. Be warned, my training is harsh, and you will wish for death at times. Are you still willing to undergo it? I am. I don't want to lose my sister a second time after she is revived, I replied, my eyes resolute. Very well. After this is over, I will train you. For now, follow me and observe how I wield my sword. As you wish, sensei, I replied, feeling a sense of purpose. Hakuro nodded and looked towards Rimuru. Rimuru placed my sister's body near a purple-haired Kijin, who looked at her with deep sadness. She was likely someone close to him. As Rimuru set mine down, various monsters approached him. We are launching a counterattack. Make sure to leave no one alive. With that, Rimuru declared war on those responsible. Rimuru's paw high in the sky, I soared with my mimicry wings, surveying the scene below. Everything was in place. I had developed a new magic specifically to deal with these invaders. Die. Be pierced and burned by divine indignation, God's wrath, Megiddo. Dancing beams of light rained down from the sky, reflecting off the ground and piercing the soldiers' bodies with ease. The massacre had begun. The enemy army had magic divisions specializing in erecting defensive barriers. Even with their numbers, they believed they could withstand any attack, but they were wrong. In this world, barriers are designed to defend against magic power, not physical phenomena. This was a fact confirmed by my analysis of their barriers. Entrusting all calculations to Great Sage, I created several 100,000 floating water droplets around me. High above, giant droplets shaped like convex lenses focused sunlight into thin beams. Below, the droplets formed a reflective mirror array, further concentrating the light. The droplets, created with water spirit energy, converged sunlight into beams as thin as pencils, reaching temperatures of thousands of degrees. This was my new magic, God's wrath, Megiddo. With the first simultaneous firing, over 1,000 soldiers fell. Chaos erupted below as panic spread through the ranks. But this was only the beginning. Using optimal calculations, I adjusted the positions for a second attack. Another 1,000 soldiers perished, unable to resist. All obstacles were cleared. Now, I could finally cleanse the battlefield of those below me. The attack came silently, with the speed of light, leaving no room for resistance. Soldiers and knights alike were pierced and burned, a massacre without distinction. I deliberately spared a particularly splendid carriage, uncertain if the king was inside. I needed him alive to witness the consequences of his actions. I also had plans for the Ehrenfest Knights. While coming here, I learned various magic spells mine had studied during her time as a priestess. Among them was a barrier spell that reflected attacks and repelled those with harmful intentions. I would use it to separate the guilty from the innocent among the 5,000 Ehrenfest Knights. It would be a waste to kill them all. With this in mind, I began my descent, my wings fluttering as I approached the ground. To those foolish enough to challenge me, I would deliver further despair. Third-person Pav King Edmalus stood frozen, unable to comprehend the scene unfolding before him. The battlefield, once filled with the confident shouts of his soldiers, had transformed into a nightmarish pandemonium. Just moments ago, the morale was high, and victory seemed assured. But now, the veteran knights, seasoned by countless battles, lay dead, their chests pierced by beams of light from an unknown source. The young volunteer soldiers, who had joined with dreams of glory, died without even understanding what had happened. The knights dispatched by the church, who had placed their faith in their barriers, found them utterly useless. The weak and the strong alike trembled in terror, paralyzed by fear. No one dared to retaliate. King Edmalus felt a suffocating terror grip him, yet he struggled to maintain his composure as a king. Desperately, he tried to think of a way out of this disaster. The military endeavor had failed spectacularly, and their only hope now was to escape with their lives, but it was too late for that. How did it come to this? He wondered, though he knew the answer was irrelevant now. He turned to his bodyguard knights and the leader of the Ehrenfest Knights, Viscount Gerlach. What should we do now? He asked, his voice betraying his desperation. For now, we should go out and meet him, or we will die either way, Gerlach replied grimly. King Edmalus looked up at the sky. A figure was descending, a being with black bat-like wings. The figure was not tall, but it exuded an aura of power. It wore a beautiful mask, cracked in a way that resembled a crying face, and a sublime blue kimono. The figure carried no weapon, yet its presence was more terrifying than any armed foe. This was no ordinary demon, it was a demon lord. His instincts screamed at him, and he finally realized the magnitude of his mistake. This was the ruler of the city allied with the Bloomin Kingdom. Hinata Sakaguchi from the church had failed, and now they faced a being of unimaginable power. In a moment of clarity, King Edmalus thought he might be able to negotiate. As a king, he believed he could talk his way out of this and prepare a counterattack upon returning to his country. Surely, this demon lord, who had negotiated with Bloomond, would kneel before the king of a great nation like Farmus. But in his desperation, he failed to see the folly of his thoughts. Rimuru's paw. As I landed on the ground, I surveyed the chaos with magic perception, gathering information with precision. I could target vital points from blind spots, creating confusion by occasionally blowing off an arm or a leg. The screams of pain only added to the chaos, progressing exactly as I had envisioned. The surviving soldiers, upon seeing me, fell deeper into fear. Help, one cried, but I paid no heed, piercing his forehead with a beam of light. Controlling the beams had become second nature. The angle of reflection was simple, and the cost was low, allowing me to fire at will. By converging the heat ray into a single spot, it reached temperatures capable of piercing human flesh. With great sage's computational abilities, I could aim with precision, a feat impossible for any human to evade. As I continued my assault, a voice echoed in my mind, confirmed, unique skill, Merciless, acquisition. Succeeded. It was the voice of the world, not great sage, and the skill seemed fitting, if not unsettling. Wait. You must be the lord of that city. I am Edmalus, the king of Farmus Kingdom. Behave yourself. I hear you want to talk, the king shouted, his voice a mix of desperation and arrogance. I was mildly amused. The king had introduced himself, making it easier to identify the mastermind. What, you want to talk after unilaterally declaring war on my nation? Do you expect me to listen to you? I replied. I am. Impudence. I am the king of the great nation Farmus Kingdom. And he is the commander of the Ehrenfest Knights. You have no right to address me. However, it's fine this time, the king blustered, while the commander of the Ehrenfest Knights, Viscount Gerlach, interjected. I am Viscount Gerlach, the commander of the Ehrenfest Knights stationed here. On what basis have you come here to kill my knights? Your knights declared war on my nation, so I responded in kind, I retorted. You killed those knights who went there, did you not? We came to assess the situation after hearing some of our knights went rogue. Naturally, we brought an army for protection. This is the Jura Forest, after all. Ooh, but I heard the knights acted in your name and the king's. Don't try to wriggle out of this. I've already contacted Ehrenfest, and they told me their side of the story. With that, I burned off Gerlach's arm. Be grateful I did only this much. Your actions have made Ehrenfest my nation's subject. The only reason I'm not killing you and the other Ehrenfest knights is because you are technically my subjects. You will undergo a fair trial and answer for your actions. Turning to King Edmalus, I asked, now, what is your excuse, ruler of Farmus? My country wants to enter a diplomatic relationship. Can't it be done? It's a good talk, right? I was deceived. I didn't know the city had someone like you. But it's fortunate, with a hero like you, we can be diplomatic partners. If you secure peace with my country, you'll receive our support. This benefits us both, doesn't it? I'll introduce you to the council. How's that? Of course, you'll accept, right? This guy, is he a genius or a fool? Without noticing my bafflement, King Edmalus continued his delusional pitch. I decided to silence him by burning off his right leg. Though he screamed, he wouldn't die. The cauterized wound prevented bleeding. The surroundings grew quiet as the surviving soldiers prostrated themselves, begging for their lives. But it was too late, my heart, once generous, was now painted with anger at their merciless actions. The analysis of unique skill, Merciless, was complete. Its effect allowed me to seize the souls of those who begged for mercy, sentencing them to death. Though the skill seemed grim, it was useful now. Question. Do you want to use unique skill, Merciless, yes no? Yes. I answered without hesitation. Immediately, besides the king and Gerlach, all others perished. Thousands of soldiers died, leaving the battlefield eerily calm. Consider this my benevolence, ending their pain and fear swiftly. For the king, further pain and fear awaited. As I pondered my next move, the voice of the world resounded in my mind. Notice. The necessary human soul, nourishment, for the requirement of evolution, seeds sprouting, had been confirmed. The requirements have been met. Evolution to Demon Lord, Harvest Festival, will begin. Without my consent, my body began to transform, and an overwhelming sleepiness overcame me.